now. All right. Hey, everybody. We are recording now. I want to officially welcome you. This is our 4th episode of Hindsight Is 2020 with Sacramento Real Producers. And I'm super happy to see all your faces on here and have you guys on this call. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy days. We've talked about this a little bit, but the goal of these Zoom calls is basically to channel the collective wisdom in the room, if you will. We feel like it is important to create spaces and opportunities to kind of blend the personal and the professional and have a chance to share wisdom and get to learn from each other. So the more we share of kind of what we're observing and seeing, the better we become as business owners, right? So our theme for today is hindsight, kind of talking about what we've seen over the last crazy year and how we can best position ourselves moving forward into 2021. But before we get started, I want to thank our partners, our preferred partners, for being on the call. Bridget Holmes with Placer Title, Michael Pankow with Fairway Mortgage, and Melanie Prescott, who is also our sponsor of the call today with Platinum TC Services. Thank you so much. She sent us fun treat baskets that we get to enjoy. Is Michael going to hold one up? I love it. Look at him. He's all ready.
Hold it up. I'll hold it up. There you go.
So thank you, Melanie. That's super fun. And thanks everybody for being on the call. So I am going to kick us off in kind of a round robin style by having you just introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, and then like we always do, we like to start off on a note of cheering for each other and celebrating wins and successes. So you can tell us something that was a win for you in 2020, something personally or professionally that you are proud of over the past year. That would be awesome. I know you can't see my screen, but I'm going to go in my order. So let's start down in my bottom corner with Michael. You can tell us a little bit about who you are, and then I'll pass it off.
Sure. Let me say hi to Kim first. Our kids play basketball together. Hey, Kim, how are you? So name's Michael Pankow. I'm a SVP here with Fairway Independent Mortgage. Greg and I run the market here. We've got a total of about 85, 86 employees spread out through the state of California. Actually, we have a branch in Carson City, Nevada now. But what I learned about 2020 is a couple things, is that we can grow during the year of the pandemic. And we did actually, on the mortgage side, we actually did pretty good. We grew through it, we retained. And I think what we learned too is that we don't necessarily have to be in an office. Although I'm in an office today, I think we're looking at, how do we consolidate now and where do we need to have an office, and are we going to let some leases expire where we don't need offices? But all in all, last year was, as you guys know, in the mortgage industry, probably in the title industry as well, is that we had a phenomenal year last year. It was fantastic.
Awesome. All right, Kyle, go ahead and tell us who you are and something that was a win for you.
Hey everybody, my name is Kyle Renke, and first of all, thanks for putting this together, Katie and everybody else. It's super awesome to be here with everyone. So I am a real estate agent in Granite Bay is where I live. I'd say kind of similar to what you just mentioned was for me was I actually left my W-2 job. I used to be a speech therapist and jumped into real estate full time in March. Literally, I left my job on Friday the 13th, and then March 16th was the day that all the county shut down. So at the time it was like, is this the right time to be making a career move, and made the jump. And actually I'm super grateful that 2020 ended up being a really good year, and was blessed to be able to do that. And I would say also that another win for me in 2020 was that my kids went back to school. So that was also a positive.
Yeah, way to rub it in. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah.
I'll also say Kyle went into real estate in 1 year, and he is already in our top 500 officially.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Good job, man.
All right, Ashley, over to you.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Ashley Haney, real estate broker here in Placer County. Obviously, as we all know, we had an awesome year for real estate, but it didn't always start that way. My win for the year, I was the president for Placer County Association of Realtors. So I helped facilitate getting real estate essential on the list of essential businesses. So it's very stressful, representing the 4,000 members in our county, and we weren't even allowed to do business. So had to do a lot of behind the scenes work and fight for our industry. And that was really, really challenging, but we persevered, and we've been essential ever since. So another win I'd say is I didn't kill one of my kids. No, I'm just kidding. I have 4 kids at home, so we survived.
Awesome.
Nice.
Okay, up to you, Tony. Tell us about you.
My name is Tony Alfano. I'm broker owner of the Alfano Group here in Rockland and co-founder of Vienna Property Management. I'd probably say our biggest accomplishment this year was defining the word pivot. In 2020, that was probably the biggest word, is how are we going to adjust? How are we going to change everything? And for me, it was on a couple of different aspects. It was at home with the family. I got a couple daughters that were out of school, transitioned back in school, thank God. And but aside from that, the physical aspect. How do you get out, stay healthy and stress-free and exercise? So we had to adjust there. And then obviously with business, and like everybody else, we did see a lot of success in 2020. And it was just due to hard work and pivoting the right direction, leading the people the right way. And it was our biggest year in real estate and property management.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys, I would be, I'm going to give you a little sneak insider peek because we're not officially getting to introduce them until next month, but Vienna Property Management just joined our preferred partnership as well. So we're super thankful to have them and their support. So I didn't want to not mention that, but you're the first to know. So look at you with the insider information.
And thanks for having us, Kate.
All right, Nate, over to you.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having us, and thank you for the treat. I also wanted to echo everybody else's sentiments. 2020 was amazing. I'm Nate Davis. I'm with Navigate Realty. I think what I'm most proud of last year was just the ability to grow in different ways, kind of echoing everybody here, learning to work from home, learning to navigate showings in different kind of environments, making clients feel comfortable. That was a big one, I think, like between sellers and buyers. It was a mix of people being uncomfortable and just being able to really show them, hey, we care and we're here for you in more ways than just real estate, and just growing business in different ways last year is kind of what I'm, happiest about.
Awesome. All right, Kim, you're up.
Hi, I'm Kim Knotts, and I am a broker with Engel & Volkers Roseville. And I would say that is probably my accomplishment for 2020 was leaving one brother to go to the other. So I left Sotheby's and went over to Engel & Volkers Roseville. But it's a brand that I love and for a lot of reasons, and I've been around for the last 10 years, but it's probably fairly new to a lot of people. So I'm excited for our cool shop to open up, the fountains, and that to take off. It's a great group to be a part of. They're a smaller firm, very boutique-y, and checks all the boxes for me. So that was my big accomplishment for 2020.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Bridget, how about we go to you?
Bridget Holmes, and I work for Placer Title Company, and I represent the El Dorado Hills branch. Placer Title Company has about 50 offices in California. A lot of you probably are familiar, but we also are licensed in all 58 California counties to serve. So I would say professionally, the biggest accomplishment for our team here was just still being able to offer a high level of service with the amount of volume that was coming in and still take really good care of our clients. That was just our goal all year last year, was to make sure that everybody felt like they were getting the service that they deserve and that we strive to provide. Personally, I will have to say that even though we did have a large volume in our branch at work, I was able to balance making more home cooked meals last year. Somehow I was able to, we got into the routine, probably like a lot of people too, you get busy and you go out to eat more than you should. And last year kind of forced us to slow down, which we're usually on the run personally as well as professionally. I have 2 kids at home that play sports and things like that. So that was a huge accomplishment that I'm hoping we'll be able to carry through. And I lost almost 50 pounds last year. So that is also a personal accomplishment. So thanks for having me. I'm super grateful to be here and be a part of everything. So
that's awesome. And that is huge. And the absolute opposite direction that most of us went during.
Well, that's honestly what I was afraid of, because everybody kept saying, I'm going to gain all this weight. And I was like, I'm already heavier than I want to be. So I had to do something and do something fast.
Congratulations. All right. And last but certainly not least, Melanie, tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Melanie Prescott, owner and operator of Platinum TC Services. So, gosh, I think we all had a great year, right? Because we just happen to be in the right industry. But my biggest accomplishment was actually, leaving my broker this year. And that's not the accomplishment itself. It allowed me to spread my wings, and a lot of doors opened that I didn't even know existed. So out of all of that, on Friday, I'm being rolled out to 3 Sotheby's offices in Oregon. So I am really spreading my wings.
Wow.
So I'm really excited about that. And I've got a deal in Arizona and deal in LA, and kind of just getting out there a little bit. So I'm really liking that. Professionally, I'm with Bridget. I lost 35 pounds this year. Or this last year. Wasn't even trying, just kind of happened with COVID, and I don't cook. So I've been kind of hungry, I think. I'm just kidding. So yeah, I had an amazing year. I mean, there's probably 10 other things I could talk about, because 2020 was so good for me professionally and personally that I know we had a lot going on, and it wasn't the best for everybody else. And I feel, my heart goes out to those that have had a really rough year, but it's been amazing. And I've met some amazing people, Katie, and which has just really opened a lot of, things for me. So that's what I'm happy about 2020.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, yeah, I think we're just going to toss it out to all of you. My question really is, what, looking back over the last year, you all kind of dove a little bit into it. So what sorts of challenges, what sorts of things do you feel like you initially saw coming in to the real estate market because of the pandemic, or things that maybe caused different practices in the way that the real estate market functions? What effects were you seeing that were presenting challenges? How did you adapt? And which of those kinds of changes do you think are here to stay now? And what do you think was kind of quick band-aids or adjustments for the current time that maybe we'll go back to, as everyone says, a new normal, versus go back to how things used to be moving forward? So any observations? Bravest person goes first. Just shoot it out there. And if you have questions for each other, please feel free.
Okay, I'll go. So I think the biggest challenge we had last year was just adopting the Zoom mentality. I had never done really a Zoom before. Now I'm more comfortable doing a Zoom than probably anything else. If it's not a Zoom meeting, I'm like, why aren't we doing a Zoom, right? And so we had to learn to work through that. What I see for my loan officers working with the real estate agents on the call is that they can't get face-to-face anymore, right? Or if they can, it's very limited. It's probably more of an opportunity now than it was 3-4 months ago. But when the pandemic first hit, is that all just ceased and it stopped. So in terms of marketing activity, business development activities, it all ceased to exist, and we had to modify and we had to overcome that. So, Zoom, I think it's here to stay. I think people like it. Saves a lot of time.
Well, I think there's a disruption that, really led to the unknown. So how do we, not knowing what to do, how do we practice our craft? And, Ashley led to it. I think PCAR, CAR, NAR, I think they all did a great job to kind of direct us the way that we need to go, and label us as essential. And once we got that label, we were as a collective group of agents, we were able to come together and find the path that we needed to go down to do business again.
I think some of the good things that are going to come out of 2020 and the COVID is that, like Michael said, with us doing Zoom and stuff, think about how much time in our day we've saved in travel, preparation to go somewhere, things like that. I also am very hopeful that anybody that's an actual employer, W-2 employer, they take this opportunity to realize that their employees can work from home, and when they're sick, they need to stay home and be at home and things like that. But there's some good things that have actually come out of this for us.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that too. I think one of the big things that I'm noticing and seeing, especially with we've heard it over the past few years, obviously with Zillow coming in, and it's really changing the home buying process from a client side and from a customer side. The iBuyer programs that are out there, and it's really, if anything, COVID has kind of forced real estate agents and brokerages to not ignore technology and to adapt it in a different way. So I think that's really one thing that's going to be a positive, is it's not going to leave brokerages and real estate agents on the back end, but it's actually forcing us to get ahead of it and stay up to date with technology and be really proficient with it.
Luckily for realtors, we're really adaptable people, but I just think since everything was changing so fast and we didn't know what was happening from one day to the next, not only in our community, we were scared personally. Then how does that transition into our business? And we had clients who were scared, and we didn't know, what was going to come the next day. And there's a new PED form. Can I do an open house? Where do I go? So for me, I just decided to educate myself. Then I was able to educate my clients, and then I could be that resource for them, because inventory was low. We needed people to sell their homes, but you can't tell anybody how to feel. People were they had fear. They were scared about finances. They were scared about their health. And I know me personally, sometimes I was more scared than others, right? There's times where I thought, okay, no, it's no big deal. We've got this. But then others that I'm like, I'm legitimately scared, or somebody personally that we know was affected by COVID. So just adapting and pivoting, like you said, Tony, and just figuring out a way to remain essential and do the best for our clients and bring that value also was very important.
Yeah, I got quite a few calls. I was kind of impressed. People calling to see if I wanted to put my house on the market, and of course somebody knows I'm in the business, right? Just, but I was like, that's kind of an old school. It kind of brought back some old school, pick up the phone and actually talk to somebody. I kind of dug that. It impressed me. Would you say, Ashley?
I said, I'm offended. Nobody called me.
I actually think I got like 4 calls trying to put my house on the market from 4 different brokers.
Wow.
I think for me, it was, everybody kind of has the same feelings. Zoom is here to stay. I think that really just doubling down on our sphere and calling your clients and making them aware that you're more than just a realtor. Like, you can be their resource for everything right now. And if they're scared on what's happening, I'm a human being too. We're going through this together, and just really fostering those relationships and tightening that bond between you and your clients, because it's not just a transaction. We're in this together. And especially where I live, I'm in Placerville. It's a real small town. Just letting everybody know, hey, I'm here for you. And I'm not just some agent that's going to forget about you. I'm going to care about you far beyond this transaction. And just letting them know I'm here if you need anything. I think that really was a big part of last year.
Yeah, and I think for the consumers too, they also got to understand that right now we aren't in our set ways, and we're still in a transition. The fact that we used to do open houses, we're starting to do them under COVID guidelines, but eventually it'll open back up to where we do open houses again. How we do them, we don't know that yet. But I think we'll start to form that as time goes on and things get safer. The first aspect is safety, the second's education, and then the third is just being there for your clients.
I think being transparent as we learn and grow as an industry too. Like, hey, I'm figuring this out as we go, just like you were saying, like these open houses, I might have a client that wants one. I might have a client that doesn't, and I'm going to educate you on how we're going to keep it, safe, and how we're going to, schedule the appointments to keep people coming in through your house in a safe manner. I think just being transparent with our clients when they ask us questions is huge.
And I have seen a lot of people having a lot of grace, right? We've had to have a lot of grace as it relates to our personal and our professional, because our personal has been brought into our professional. I could be on a call with my client and my kid walks in the background. I mean, but people don't, that wouldn't have been acceptable a year ago. It is acceptable now.
I was on the phone with Zach B the other day and that happened. So it's happening. The good thing is that because it happened to all of us, it's a little bit more accepting and everybody's kind of dealt with it, but there was dogs barking.
The best part was when it was happening on ESPN.
It's true. I think that one of the opportunities has been that this has allowed for a little bit of what, for me personally, having found the Real Producers platform and really believing in it, it was great timing for me because the whole mission is peeling back that curtain, right? And I think collectively as humanity has happened for us this year, as we have brought Zoom into our homes, we have our own houses in the background. There's been a little bit of that peeling back and showing, connecting basically on that human level as, hey, we're all kind of going through this. So I think that's been cool to see. We also had brought up on a call, one of the previous calls, a little bit of what you guys are alluding to, which is this, there is like a need right now and all last year for a heightened professionalism from agents and industry professionals, really educating, being the ones who are on the cusp of just ever-changing rules and regulations, you being that kind of advocate for your clients and having to really stay on top of what is happening right now so that you can educate your clients and let them know. There was just a real need for that because it was so, you couldn't rely on old information. You had to stay in communication and knowing, what was going on. So I think that kudos to all of you who really rose to that challenge to really stay on top of everything that was changing so quickly last year. One of the questions that was posed right now, because what we're seeing in 2021 is this crazy inventory shortage, right? And so as somebody representing those looking to buy, it's so competitive right now. How do you deal with kind of the challenges of this huge Bay Area influx, this really competitive market and crazy offers being written, where contingencies are being waived all over the place? Like as an advocate for your client, trying to win a listing versus seeing kind of records happening as far as what kinds of offers are being written. How do you navigate that? What are your thoughts kind of in that world?
I think now more than, go ahead, Bridget.
Sorry, my perspective's a little bit different from title. Obviously, I'm not trying to get the listing or trying to get the offer accepted, but on the flip side, I'm doing my best to help get our agents as prepared as possible when they're taking their clients to look at the homes, if they need property information, and also when they're going to listing appointments, so they can be as prepared as possible. I'm guessing there's probably multiple people going to listing appointments as well as you guys are battling the multiple offers too. So from our perspective, I'm just trying to make sure that I do what I can to help you guys be as prepared as possible when you're going to those types of appointments.
I think educating the client's pretty important right now, especially in the marketplace that we have. And that gives you an opportunity to be a professional, whether it's sending a newsletter, trends in the areas that they're looking. If it's a new client, making sure they understand that you're not just trying to push them into making a quick offer, but that this is our market right now. Lake Tahoe's up like 35 or 40% this year. It's totally nuts. We're not quite as crazy, but keeping in touch with clients that I've had, and especially new clients, and getting on Zoom calls and sharing statistics from, cities that they're looking in, price points that they're looking in, so that they can see that, I'm just not throwing them a sales line, that actually if they go look at a house and they really like it, they better put their, best foot forward, else they're going to lose it. And so that, I think that we have to spend a little bit more time educating people. I also think the pandemic has eliminated a lot of time wasters for us, meaning looky-loos and open houses, a bunch of phone calls, and you're out running all over because now you've got to get PED forms and you have to make appointments. And, most people want pre-qual letters because we just don't want to take that extra time if they're just a bunch of looky-loos. So I think that the good agents will survive through the pandemic, and it gives them an opportunity to set themselves apart from the people that, really don't want to do the hard work.
I agree. And so I would say right now, relationships are more important than ever, not only within other real estate professionals, but within our community. So there is limited inventory. There are multiple offers. So on one hand, I've utilized social media to have the ask, and I probably did 30% of my business last year off market because somebody said, yeah, I'll sell my house, but I don't want anyone coming into it. And I match made the transaction. Secondarily, it does scare me because we do have to educate our clients, and when people want a home or they want to move, they're willing to do whatever. And it does scare me because our job is to protect our clients and to protect our industry, and waiving contingencies and all of this. It does make me fearful for the trajectory of our business in that regard.
I do think when you have buyers up front, that conversation and letting them know, I'm not pushing you to do this. This is where the market is, and educating them to where, like Kim was saying, you have to know that when you got to jump. And I'm not just saying you need to jump. This is what the market is doing. And letting them know when you're writing an offer, there are people that are going to write it with no contingencies. And I'm not telling you that that's smart, but I'm telling you that's what's happening. I'm going to tell you, as your advocate, you should get inspections and you should be, getting an appraisal. But there are people that are going to be willing to go forward without any of that stuff. So, making sure your clients are really aware of what's happening out there, I think is super important right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
really,
Those of us,
yeah, I would say make sure you document. Make sure we document that.
Yes, that is always important.
Well, I think on the listing side, if you're on the listing side, one of the things in our area we usually didn't do, except, or at least me, unless they're rural or, $1 million plus, is we didn't do a lot of inspections ahead of time, maybe a pest or something like that. But, when the Bay Area was the booming market, they had all inspections done ahead of time because they had multiple offers the first day. And that's one thing that I've really changed in the last years. I'm really encouraging, the sellers to do all of that stuff up front, so that when you get a buyer or multiple buyers making multiple offers, that you're not putting yourself in a weird position because they're waiving a bunch of contingencies, or, you got people that back out quickly because they changed their mind or they haven't done the inspection. And so it's trying to, make it a fair playing ground for everybody. But also I think that for me, that's been a big shift, going towards like a Bay Area type market where you do all the inspections up front, so that everybody has all the information when they walk through the door or ahead of time.
and when we have a market as good as ours, you can totally do that. The Bay Area still does that. They've done it for a long time. And those of us who have been in the market for a long time know that we've been competing with Bay Area buyers for a long time, but it's pretty intense right now because they're all trying to get out because of how bad their lockdown's been, right?
Their dollars go really far in our area. So.
Yeah, they do. But it's actually a good thing. I agree with Kim about I may not act as an agent, but I try to direct my agents in, what I'm seeing and what I'm constantly seeing in the market. And so as many transactions as I manage, it gives me an opportunity to help maybe a newer agent, or even sometimes experienced agents, I like to give them those tidbits, and Kim's right on the inspections, trying to do some of that stuff up front really makes it a lot easier to waive the inspections and things like that and get a really good solid buyer in there.
I think that helps your sellers. You're setting your seller up for
Yes.
success if you're doing it that way, because they're not getting a buyer in that's going to try to whittle them down once they get the inspections. Even before we were in the pandemic, we were starting to, emulate the Bay Area as far as getting the inspections done, and getting all the disclosures done up front as well. That way, when somebody writes an offer, you say, here's the DIO link, and I want you to read all the disclosures, look at the inspections, and send me an offer with all of that signed. That way, when we get into contract, you can do all your inspections. I don't care what you guys do, but you know ahead of time what you're getting yourself into. And so don't come back to me and ask me for a million things,
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, I've got to, Katie said I can do this. I'm going to have to leave pretty quick, but I'll leave you guys with this tidbit of information. So on our side, we can get what's called a PIW, or a property inspection waiver, on a refinance when we've got strong borrower and we've got a low LTV. We can do the same thing on a purchase. So when you've got a Bay Area borrower who's coming in and they're putting down a sizable cash on the down payment, if you're in a 60, 70, 50% loan to value, make sure that your loan officer is running Fannie Mae and seeing if we can get the PIW. You may avoid having a traditional inspection / appraisal on the property to begin with, which would again remove that contingency all the way around. So just something to think about.
That's awesome. Thank you, Michael.
Good information, Michael. Thank you.
Welcome. All right, everybody. Have a great call. I got to go.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Katie.
Just a real life example that just happened that, we went through yesterday, and educate the consumer. There's a property on Sacramento listed at 340. We wrote a 375 cash offer, and there's 37 other offers. So, you got to be cautious when you're doing out there.
That's not many.
I think that's a
Sorry,
record
but
I've ever heard of.
That's
Yeah.
like ridiculous,
That
right?
is ridiculous.
But with that, a lot of this, we as professionals have to communicate better. I think I've noticed a lot of agents getting stressed out. Some people are getting upset because you got multiple people outside the house wanting to get in a show. Use those tools that we have. Use the calendars. Do the time blocking. But be cordial.
Well, yeah, now we have the showing calendar, right? The showing whatever it is, showing time. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's a good tool. I actually used it on my last one, and it was for that, but a lot of agents don't know about it. They don't use it. It's funny.
And as soon as MLS adds it in, Zillow buys it.
Right. I know, right? Oh.
Great.
I was trying to figure it out if we can buy stock in showing time.
That's fine.
I'm with Tony too. I'm always telling my agents to just, sometimes the agents don't realize how much they could cut down the efforts that they're putting into a transaction if they just picked up the phone and called the other agent.
Yep.
I mean, let's talk about negotiations, like requests for repairs and stuff. They're doing a request for repairs with an addendum and a counter and a contingency removal. When you pick up the phone, you guys all come to terms, because then the other side's going to write an RRRR, another addendum, another contingency removal, and then everybody's got this half signed paperwork, right? Just pick up the phone and call the other agent. You guys work it out before anything's drawn up.
That goes.
Make your voicemail full.
Yeah, that goes a long ways. I think there have been times where listing agents just treat buyers agents like dirt in the last year, because listings are gold, so I can do whatever I want, and I think as a buyer's agent and somebody that represents both sides of the transaction, just treating each other with professionalism and respect, and knowing that you might be on the other side of that transaction one day, and you want that person to give you that level of respect, it goes a long ways.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've noticed with a few of my listings, I've been trying to be very intentional about getting back to other buyers agents, because we know what it's like to be in their shoes too. And even when you just give them a little bit of time and you call them back or you help them out in any way that they can, there's this sense of, wow, they're just even surprised that we would even give them that time or take the time to call them back, even if it's at 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. So I think there's that level of professionalism for sure that's super needed and super important. And I get it too, that listing agents are super overwhelmed with the 80 phone calls and inquiries they're getting. And, you know, a lot of it's like, well, you could have looked this up yourself, but, you know, or, you know, tech issues. I don't know how to schedule it on showing time. And so a lot of times we're having to like, you know, do a Zoom call with them just to show them how to use Zoom showing time. But I think in the end, just having, especially with how stressful and frustrating this kind of world is right now, just being able to kind of bring that relational aspect is a huge part.
Katie knows how I feel about this, about my community, about us TCs. We're supporting each other. Pick up the phone, call another TC. There's no reason why we can't do that. There's so much business out there that there's plenty enough for all of us that we can't honor that the other one might need some assistance in their success. And if we help them do that, then we're all successful. And sometimes listing agents seem to forget, you know, like you're saying, they're gold, right? Their listings are gold, but you need all of those buyer's agents to sell your house. And they forget that. And we're all part of a community. We should all be helping each other out instead of playing against each other. I mean, I get when you're competing for a listing with another agent, but as far as once you've got the listing, let's all do it together.
Absolutely. I want to offer just kind of one more minute if there's any questions, pertinent questions that you have either for each other, something that's going on right now, or for industry professionals. And then in the interest of time, we will wrap up shortly.
I'd like to ask Kyle a question. So being new in the business, obviously we always recommend new agents do open houses and door knock and do other things like that. How the heck did you make the top 500 in your first year of business without those tools?
So great question. I was a real estate agent for the last about a year and a half before that. So I wasn't just an overnight success or anything like that, right? So for me, it was really building up my sphere. We used to kind of have these investor meetups. So we'd work with a lot of investor people, but this was kind of creating this group or this tribe over the last year and a half, almost 2 years. So luckily I had, as Dave Ramsey would put it, I had the boat close enough to the dock for me to make that jump. And so a lot of the fruits from those previous labors are still coming. So that's been a big part of it. And then obviously just my own personal sphere, family, friends, previous coworkers has been a huge part of it as well.
Good job.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you guys for being on here again. I feel like you all touched on it, the idea of relationships and really just coming alongside each other to share that wisdom, because we are ultimately all able to help each other thrive, and there's tons of business to go around, is just really valuable. And so I appreciate you coming on here and doing that. And we're going to wrap up with the Fast Five. So you can't see my screen, but I'm going to start. Remember your order. I'm going to tell you what name you are going after. And then I'm going to ask a question. You tell me the first thing off the top of your head, and then we'll go around 5 times. So let's see. I'm going to start. Who am I going to pick on? Melanie, you're going to go first. After Melanie is Bridget. And then after Bridget will be Ashley. After Ashley is Nate. After Nate is Tony. After Tony is Kyle. And then Kim will go last after Kyle. And then Melanie, you will start off the next round after Kim. All right. So these are very, very simple. Do not overthink them. The first one, I'll start you off on an easy one. Sweet or salty? Go ahead, Melanie.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Salty.
Sweet.
Salty.
Salty.
Sweet.
Nice. Okay. Favorite form of exercise, Melanie?
None.
Perfect. I love it.
Whose turn is it?
Bridget.
It's mine. Okay. Hiking. I like hiking.
I like group fitness classes. I do F45.
CrossFit every day.
My PG answer is Peloton.
I love it.
Oh, I love you, Tony.
Perfect.
Mine would be outdoor adventures.
Mine would be rollerblading.
That's awesome. I love it. See the things you learn about each other? All right, dream vacation you have not taken yet.
Oh, bucket list right at the top. Fiji. Fiji.
Oh, man.
Europe.
Greece.
Scotland.
Thailand.
New Zealand.
Oh, I think mine's St. Lucia.
Ooh, that's where I went on my honeymoon, St. Lucia. Awesome. Okay, night owl or early bird?
Night owl now, but it used to be early till COVID.
Night owl.
Yeah, night owl, not an early bird.
Same.
Early bird.
Night owl.
Early bird.
Early bird.
Awesome. Okay, and then this is my last. The last one is my favorite. It kind of dates you, so a little bit of a warning. But your favorite show as a teenager?
Geez, I don't know. I don't even know if I watched TV back then.
I know.
Kid
You
show?
did it as a teenager. No.
Yeah, I didn't really. Sorry, I got nothing.
Beverly Hills 90210.
Saved by the Bell.
Oh,
Saved by the Bell.
By the bell. Punked.
Ah!
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fresh Prince. Nice.
I'll say Family Matters.
I don't have one as a teen either.
No?
No, Wonder Woman would be like my fave, but that was like 10 years old. And then I was done with TV.
Wow.
It was
Well-
the telephone. It was the telephone.
Okay. Yeah, the 10-year-old era with the Wonder Woman, or there was oh shoot, no, I can't remember.
No, it was Linda Carter. Linda Carter Wonder Woman was my fave.
Okay. That's awesome. All right, that's all I have for you. See, I told you guys that wouldn't be too painful, but it's
That was
fun.
fun.
Get to know each other, know something you never would have otherwise. Get to see everybody. Tony. That was super fun. Well, I just want to thank you guys again for being on here, and we're going to sign off. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.